Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. So, Raiders out of the postseason. Packers out of the postseason. Flip trade rumors and what have you start swirling. So we went through this all of last with Aaron Rodgers. I want out. I hate it here. Silent treatment. We saw it on draft day. What perfect timing. What allegedly just totally random timing that on day one of the draft, the news dropped that Aaron Rodgers is unhappy. He wants out, all this kind of thing. At the end of the day, you stayed in Green Bay because if you're team president of the Packers, GM of the Packers, coach of the Packers, and you lose a once-in-a-lifetime, multiple-time NFL MVP, Super Bowl winning quarterback, probably going to get fired.
Reigning MVP.
Probably reigning back-to-back MVP, right? At
More
this point.
like.
You're probably going to get fired.
Yeah.
So could a trade between the Raiders and the Packers happen for Derek Carr for Aaron Rodgers? It can. We'll get to whether it should later in the show. It can. And this is what I think could look like, because we've talked, I know how much you hate Derek Carr. You want him gone. And I'm like, hey,
Jesus,
if you got someone better, sign him up, right? If there's a better quarterback out there to replace Derek Carr, I'm in, right? Every single one of the men on the roster.
That's a very narrow view of how to build a roster, RJ.
You want to replace him with worse players?
That's another narrow view of how to look at something, RJ. God damn.
I want to replace players with better players. That is how you build a better roster. Doing the opposite is literally giving you the opposite result, replacing them with worse players.
Okay,
right?
Man. Look, no, it's not.
Am I losing? Is that not? Look, is that a bonkers statement?
Look, there's plans that you have when you have changes of regime, when you have plans going forward that just weren't working. You have contracts that just aren't working, when you have groups of players that just aren't working, when you have things set up that just aren't working, you have to say, look, this game plan moving forward, is it going to work for what I want to do? We have to go in a new direction. And this new direction has us doing X, Y, and Z to this roster. And the best way for us to do this is to gather assets and to build our team in this way. Does that mean we have to blow it up? And no, it doesn't necessarily mean doing that, but gathering our assets a specific way to give ourselves the best chance to build a good roster. Does that mean that we have to always upgrade a player when we let them go? No, it doesn't mean we have to do that right away. That's the problem with people who don't feel that Derek Carr is a problem on our team. Is, well, who are you going to get that's better? Well, that's the issue when you think that so short term. Is you don't see a long-term goal in mind, that sometimes you have to take a step back to have a long-term goal in mind. And I don't know, man, if you want to look at it that way, then yes, you're right. There's nobody that you can have readily available right now. It's not going to be Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers already said he doesn't want to rebuild. He doesn't want to go into a bad situation, and our roster is not better than the Packers roster. It just isn't. He has a better roster there. Even if you take away Davante Adams from that roster, their roster is better than our roster. So it's difficult to try to sell an Aaron Rodgers on our roster moving forward with a better defense. And, you could probably sign somebody with the money you're going to save not paying Davante Adams. But if you're looking at a roster with the Raiders and moving on from Derek Carr, you don't necessarily have to get somebody better than Derek Carr right this second if you're going to move on from Derek Carr.
But you want to, like you should, and you're probably going to get fired if you're a GM if you don't. Like you've got a franchise quarterback.
Not necessarily. That is not true, RJ. That is not true, RJ.
With a strong young core. Like you're acting like it's like time to blow up this roster.
I'm not
they
saying
won 10
that,
games.
RJ. Look, this is
you're
the
treating
problem.
it that way.
No, I'm not treating it that way. What you're saying is you're treating. Look. No, you're treating Derek Carr like he's an elite quarterback in the NFL, and he is not. He is an above average.
I never said that. You're trying to twist my words to try to make sense.
You're not.
You hate Carr so much, you're willing to take a lesser quarterback.
If this is what this is gonna turn into, RJ, you can just take the floor and I'll just sit back and nod my head. Because you're just putting words in my mouth that I'm not saying. I'm not saying that, RJ. I'm not saying that whatsoever. You're trying to make Derek Carr into what he's not. We saw this last weekend a bunch of quarterbacks playing, and Derek Carr is none of that. Okay? He is not that. He needs a lot more on his team than what these guys are. All right? Let's just call it what it is. Now, does he have that? No, granted. What I'm saying is, you don't get you're saying that, getting rid of Derek Carr is like getting rid of Tom Brady or getting rid of Aaron Rodgers.
Now you're putting words in my mouth.
No, that's what you're treating it like.
Never ever said that.
That's what you're treating it like.
We have a franchise quarterback that we can win with, and you want to get rid of him and risk getting someone less.
You're okay with getting to the playoffs every few years with Derek Carr. I'm not okay with that.
Neither am I. But my point is, the whole point of this whole video.
You think we can compete every single year with Derek Carr in our division? You think we can win our division? We have a chance of winning our division every single year with Derek Carr?
Oh, way, way, way worse quarterbacks have won divisions than Derek Carr. Like you said,
our division, in our division, not other divisions, our division.
Absolutely. If we had the same weapons and defenses as other teams in our division, right? Which we don't, right?
That's what I'm talking about, RJ.
Yeah. So it's not a refresh, rebuild roster. We've got a good core of young guys. We have a franchise quarterback.
You're not listening, man.
And get it better.
You just want to.
I am listening.
You want to hash around the same bullshit. You want to make Carr the guy and build around Carr. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen if you keep Carr because you're allocating too much to Carr.
I literally told you today, let's do a show on what it's like to trade Carr for Rodgers. This was my idea. I was like, hey, let's do and see what that's like. Because I would absolutely take someone better than Carr.
The problem is your only way of rebuilding and moving on from Carr is to get somebody better than Carr right away.
Yes, that is the correct way to do it. That is the right move.
That is not the only way to do it.
There's worse ways. I mean, why would you go lower at the most important position in sports?
All right, man.
Why? Explain it to me.
All right.
No, tell me. It's a genuine question.
There is nothing that I can say, RJ, that's going to sway you, not even an iota. So why even waste my fucking breath?
Every time I ask you, what would you do? You don't give me an answer.
I'm trying to give you an answer, but every time I try, because it's not a simple answer of let's just build us an Aaron Rodgers that we can pay a rookie salary to. It's not as simple as that, RJ. That's the problem. The problem is if we get Aaron Rodgers on our team, we're not going to be able to build a team around it because we pay him too much money. That's the problem. We're going to pay Derek Carr too much money. We have to build a team first and then get the quarterback.
And if we can't do it by paying a quarterback that kind of money, how can all these other teams do it? How can the Chiefs and the Bucks and the Rams and all these other teams that are paying their quarterbacks so much money and win, and we can't?
Because we're doing it the opposite way. We're trying to make the quarterback that we have the guy when he's not the guy. We're trying to make him the guy when he's not.
What would you do?
I just told you what I would do. I would try to get what I could for Derek Carr, and I would build my roster up. I wouldn't draft a quarterback this year. the quarterback class next year is a lot stronger, and I would draft a quarterback the following year. And that's not GM suicide if that is your plan. If your owner and the GM and the head coach and everybody is all on the same page of this is our plan moving forward to build the roster and go for a quarterback in 2023 draft and build moving forward, that is a plan moving forward. So if that's the plan that you're sticking to, like the Reggie McKenzie thing, right? Like, okay, I inherited a stupid fucking salary cap. Like this this contracts that I had were fucking crazy. He went to Mark Davis and said, look, your dad, God rest his soul, him and Hugh Jackson did a number on this fucking roster. I have to deconstruct this roster and then build it back up because of what they did to it. He bought himself some time. He got rid of a lot of high-priced players. He got a lot of dead money on the contract, and he bought himself some time. That's what I'm saying. The problem that I have is and this is where we get into problems. We have a different evaluation of the ceiling of Derek Carr. We have a different evaluation of what his strengths are and what his ceiling.
I don't think we do. I think we do. This conversation. I think 85% agree on who Carr is, strengths and weaknesses. What we disagree on is the risk that comes with losing him, because this Raiders roster is not even close to what Reggie McKenzie took on. We'll have the sixth most cap space next season. This is a great team. This is a team you gotta let's get rid of terrible contracts. Let's start over. It's not that at all. This is a team that's got great young players on rookie contracts, a franchise quarterback who's above average, right? I think we both at least agree on that, right? Above average starting quarterback.
He's above average, but here's my thing. But here's my thing. My thing is, you know the limitations of the guy that you have, and he's not going to be able to get you to the prize. He's not the guy to get you there. And if you knowing the guy
on the right team, absolutely.
Okay, look, and that's the difference of opinion that we have. Now, if you're the guy running the team and you're the GM and let's say you're the conglomerate, you're like the mix of the owner, head coach, and GM, and you all feel that Derek Carr is the guy, then you would go that way. And if I'm the mix of, well, we feel 85, although we're 85% in agreement, but we feel like, you know what? He's the guy. He can get us to a certain point, but he's not the guy that can get us to the ultimate goal. Then we have to move on. And knowing who is the guy is just as important as knowing who the guy isn't. And if you have a guy if you have a guy on your team and you know that he isn't the guy, moving on from that guy is just as important. And I used Alex Smith as an example. Andy Reid was winning 12, 13 games a year, but he knew Alex Smith wasn't going to be the guy to get him that championship. So what did he do? He drafted the next guy. Now he is a little different situation.
Yeah, way better team, obviously.
But that's the thing is we have to do something like that. We have to create that team. Now we don't have that luxury because Alex Smith wasn't making that kind of money, but we don't have that luxury that he had. But we do have to create a similar.
There's a couple of huge differences, obviously, between us and them, right? Like they had Patrick fucking Mahomes. That's why they were able to get rid of Alex Smith, right?
But
like they drafted a guy, and they got a guy
he was that. Nobody knew he was that.
Andy Reid did after that rookie season when he saw him practice, and he's like, we got something special here.
But that's the thing.
I'm not willing to risk the next 10 years of quarterback purgatory when we have a quarterback that's good, not great, can't take us to the Super Bowl by himself. I'm not willing to risk that. We've improved every single season the last 4 seasons.
What would have happened?
4 wins, 7 wins, 8 wins, 10 wins, and you're like, let's blow it up and start over at quarterback.
I'm not. That's the problem. That's nuts. You're saying what would have happened if Andy Reid didn't take Mahomes and he kept throwing fucking Alex Smith out there? No, they wouldn't have won
way better than Alex Smith.
But dude,
way better than Alex Smith.
But you're comparing player to player, but the mentality, the mindset, the plan, what would have happened?
I've told you, I'm all for drafting another quarterback. Like one, we need a backup quarterback, which we don't have. Mariota's going to be gone.
But the thing is,
we don't want Peterman. I'm all for doing what they tried.
How are you going to build a team when he's making so much money and he's not worth it, man? He's not worth that $30 million, $35 million.
Yes, you can. The salary cap's gonna be like $200-something million. Absolutely, we can. This is what I'm saying. Is you're getting rid of a quarterback is starting over, right? That's as much as you can start over for a team as you can, replacing the quarterback, especially a quarterback that's been there 9 years, right? 8 years.
I just don't understand how you're not getting this, dude. I don't understand how you're not getting it. I think you want him to be the guy so bad.
I'm literally saying, what can we do to get a better quarterback? That's literally what I'm trying to do. And you're like, no, you don't. Like,
no, because you want him right now. And I'm telling you, it's not possible because we're going to pay him too much money.
We don't know. $30 million, we can build a roster around that. We have so many good guys on rookie contracts.
How are we going to get? So who can we get? Who can we get better, RJ? Tell me.
Well, we came on to talk about Aaron Rodgers as a possibility. We can all agree he's better and he's disgruntled. I don't know. Other than that, I'd rather just like draft and take shots at guys as Derek Carr is the quarterback, like Andy Reid did it with Alex Smith. Like he had a guy, they were winning great. Now, again, Derek Carr is way better than Alex Smith. It's not exactly the same, but he said, hey, let's try to improve. Like I say, every single time we have this conversation, let's improve every position, quarterback included.
Okay, first off, when you draft a quarterback in the first round, it's not just let's see if this guy, let's just take no, you're drafting that guy to be the guy. You don't draft a guy in the first round just to kind of stash him and see if he's going to be any good. You're drafting that guy to be the guy in the first round, especially when he was like number 10, drafted 10. You trade up to get him, like you're drafting that guy to be the guy, okay? And you just won back-to-back, you just won back-to-back, division titles. I understand what you're saying as far as compared one person to one person, but Alex Smith won back-to-back division titles as your starting quarterback.
Alex Smith was holding back that Chiefs team. Derek Carr isn't holding back this Chiefs team. The rest of the roster is holding him back. Almost every quarterback is, right? Like what are the odds,
dude? How old are you?
What?
Are you 5 years old? Well, he is 2 and he is 2. We're talking about Derek Carr, man.
Yeah, and you're like, we'll just stumble on someone better. That's what you're saying. Like, I'm not willing to, how hard it is to get a franchise quarterback? How many franchises are wallowing in nothing because they can't find a franchise quarterback?
At least
I don't want to be there.
Man.
We have a franchise quarterback. Like, it's so hard to get one. It is so hard. So many franchises can't do it. GMs and team presidents
fight
so millions of dollars.
Whenever I even try to talk about it, you fight so hard against it. Like I'm trying to rip a newborn baby out of your arms.
Your plan is dumb. Your plan
is
not
dumb.
Get rid of Carr.
Dumb. It worked for the Chiefs.
And then we'll stumble on a better quarterback. That's your plan.
It worked for the Bills. It worked for the Chiefs.
Yeah, because Josh Allen's and Patrick Mahomes just they show up every year. They're easy to find. You never miss on them. They're there all the time.
I'm not saying it.
How many draft classes? Yeah,
but if you don't do it, it doesn't happen for you.
We have a franchise quarterback. We've improved every season, the last 4 seasons. We went to the playoffs. We have a strong core young team. Like this draft class was awesome for us. A bunch of rookies that are only going to get better.
Let's talk Aaron Rodgers then. Let's talk Aaron Rodgers. Number 1, it ain't going to happen.
Marcus Howard. Half of Carr's wins have come from fourth quarter comebacks. He's the comeback. You got to admit. He's gotten us some wins that we shouldn't have had. Derek Carr, right?
Okay.
You got to acknowledge that, right? That's a plus.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Carr, 4 game-winning drives in a row to get us to the playoffs. True, right?
Okay. Thank you, Marcus.
Do you disagree?
Yeah, and he fucking didn't play great in the playoff game. I mean, what do you want?
Yeah, he's won us some games we shouldn't have won, and he's played not great in some other games, right? Right? Like, is that a guy that's dragging this team down? I feel like I'm asking very fair questions here, Soto.
You're asking questions that are painting me into a corner. You're not asking fair questions. I was listening to a sports talk radio host who's an extreme Russell Westbrook apologist. And Russell Westbrook had, I think it was like 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter, but he only had 5 for the entire game. He's like, well, he scored 28 points and he only had 5 turnovers. Would you take that? Would you take that as a final stat line? And the other guy is saying, dude, but he had 4 in the fourth quarter. They matter more. It's like, yeah, but his final stat line was only 5 turnovers and 9 assists. It's like, yes, but 4 of them were when they counted the most. But he's like, yeah, but the final stat line was this. It's like, dude, you're not looking at it from the perspective of when they mattered most. When it mattered most, he didn't play great. Like you're looking at, Derek Carr threw for the most yards he ever had. Yeah, but he had 21 touchdowns.
This is Howard's literally saying when it matters the most is when, like this is literally proving my point. Like, you're arguing against yourself. When it matters the most is when Derek Carr plays great. All right. This is the opposite of the argument you're trying to make.
Okay,
right?
what's his overall freaking record then? If he's that great,
losing because he's playing on a shitty team.
Oh yeah, well, but that's not. But he's not that great then.
No, he's not good enough to pull the worst defense in.
Okay, but now it's not his fault. But he's great when he wins.
He's not good enough to pull the worst defense in Raiders history last season.
When he wins, he's great. But then when he loses, it's everyone else's fault. It's not him, right?
I'm willing to acknowledge Derek Carr's faults. You're not even willing to acknowledge he's super clutch. Like I talk all the time. His turnovers are terrible. He's got slippery hands.
Why are we going over this again and again and again and again? Whenever I even make one little inkling of moving on from Derek Carr, you push the whole conversation over to this. And you won't let it go. You will not let it go. At all. You get a death grip on this conversation and you won't let it go.
Because I don't understand why you are so willing to say, let's risk everything on an unknown when we have an above average, made some Pro Bowls quarterback. Like, I'm just not willing. I think honestly
that's
what it all comes down to.
He's never made a Pro Bowl. He's been an alternate. He's never been voted into the Pro Bowl. Let's
alternate Pro Bowler. Alternate Pro Bowler. Fine.
Okay.
He's appeared in Pro Bowls by alternate means.
Why are you even giving him that? Because other people couldn't go. That's why he went. He's not really a Pro Bowler. Let's just stop.
He played in Pro Bowls, and I'm acknowledging how he got there.
Stop, man. Stop.
See, you can't even acknowledge that he's been an alternate Pro Bowl.
No, because it's bullshit. You're calling him a Pro Bowl, and he's like the 7th option to go because 6 other guys didn't want to go or couldn't go because they were still playing. It's like, come on, man.
You can't even acknowledge the good things that he does because you hate him so much.
No, it's not because of that. It's because you're trying to give all these extra shit on top of it to bolster him up to be something that he's not.
How is he? I mean, I don't understand this, how he played in Pro Bowls. And we call people who are alternate in Pro Bowls Pro Bowlers all the time. It's standard verbiage in football. Every standard verbiage in football. Every analyst, every TV host, every radio host, every podcast, every YouTube.
Okay, you see,
Hunter Renfro's going in as an alternate.
What did I say?
And he's going to be called a Pro Bowler by everyone.
Texting.
Everyone's going to call him a Pro Bowler, but you.
Yeah, I said
everyone uses that verbiage.
An alternate. Rory said, "Oh, he's going to the Pro Bowl." I'm an alternate. Yeah. I said alternate. He wasn't voted in.
He's an alternate for a Pro Bowl, which is still an accomplishment. It's not the same as being all pro.
All right.
It's not an accomplishment being an alternate for a Pro Bowl. Like that. This is what I mean. Like, you get so caught up in the semantics of Carr when really it all comes down to this. I don't have faith in the Raiders to find someone better because they've proven time and time again that they're terrible at it. Like, do you remember what life was like before Rich Gannon? Do you remember what life was like after Rich Gannon? It was atrocious. It was awful. They finally got it right. Could they do better? Sure. Derek Carr isn't the best quarterback in football. He's usually usually, sometimes, but not usually, a top 10 quarterback. But he's top 12, top 15. He's above average. He's amazing at some things, terrible at some other things. And we've improved every single year with him in the last 4 years. He took us to the playoffs, got us a lot of fourth quarter wins, and he did it without a number one receiver, did it without his head coach. Like, he's accomplished a lot.
He has.
And to say,
I'm not taking that away from him. What
I'm
saying
like,
is this. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
And to say, like, all right, well, I'd rather roll the dice on what's behind door number 2 than what I know I have that's good. And maybe I think that's the crux of it between you and me, Soto, is you're like, let's try something wild and go into the unknown instead of keeping. I
don't see that as being wild. So, because look, here's the issue that I have. You're putting Al Davis's decisions on the decision makers that we have now. Al Davis is not drafting the next quarterback. Okay. The last quarterback that we drafted with any type of capital at all wasn't Al Davis. It was Reggie McKenzie. And that's the one that we had. That's the last quarterback that we drafted with any type of capital whatsoever was Derek Carr. So the last time we drafted a quarterback to be our franchise quarterback, we did a good job. So I don't understand where you're coming from. Is I don't trust us to do it, because all these picks that you're talking about that whiffed at the quarterback position, those were all Al Davis picks, and he's not choosing anymore. There's going to be someone new picking this quarterback, the next quarterback that we have.
Well, yeah, it's a GM. We don't know who it's going to be, right? So it's like another unknown, right?
Well,
like,
we know who it's not going to be. The guy that you're so scared of to make the pick, who is Al Davis.
There's also a culture and history of being able to draft well, right? Like certain franchises, whoever the GM and head coach is, like they're generally better, right? Like we talk about this all the time. Franchises have cultures and mindsets, and they're ran certain ways, and the Raiders just haven't. I'm hoping whoever the new GM is great, right? Like that would be amazing. That's some GM who's got a great history of drafting. Like fingers crossed, whoever it may be.
I'm sure Mark Davis is going to pick a guy who's got a shitty track record in drafting. But look, that's the issue that I have whenever I talk to people about moving on from Derek Carr, because you're not the only person that I talk to about this. They're like, well, this and that. I'm like, dude, Al Davis is not coming up from the grave like the freaking Crypt Keeper was bringing his heart out, and he's like turning in a fucking draft card on draft night. He's not drafting anymore. Okay, so you can just freaking cut that shit. All right. The problem that I have is if you see what you have, and if you feel like what you have is limited and not good enough, if you keep rolling the dice over and over and over again, if you don't get to where you want to get to, it's your own fault. You have to keep trying. Now, if your plan that you have set in place doesn't necessarily have to have you progressing forward right away, your plan could be getting assets for what you have right now. Sometimes that may be the quarterback position. Right now is the best time to get rid of Derek Carr because he's cheap. He's got another year left on his contract, and he had probably one of his best statistical years yardage wise. And he's got some value. If you don't want to spend a ton of money on him, if you don't want to commit to him long term because you're a new coach and you're not sold on him, or you're GM and you're not sold, whatever the new regime isn't sold on him, now's the time to do it. You have a lot of teams out there who are more ready-made, plug and play, that have the team built around them that just need a quarterback. You can go ahead and do that then. And it wouldn't be a bad idea for the Raiders to do that, or to look into doing that, because contrary to what you believe, moving forward with the franchise doesn't necessarily mean you have to improve at every single position to move forward. You can get assets and move forward as well.
How many assets do you think we'll get for Derek Carr? 2 firsts?
Probably because not only is he coming off of a really good year, but he's also very cheap. $19.5 million is extremely
cheap. He's only 30. He's young too.
Yeah, he's young.
He's right in his prime.
And I'm saying this, like, the only reason I'm saying to get rid of Carr is because of his value, and if the regime is not sold on him. If the regime is sold on him, fine. Keep him. Let's build around him and let's move forward. I'm thinking that it could be a little bit more. It's going to be more difficult because I feel like you need a little bit more around him than you would other dynamic quarterbacks. He's not a good runner. He's not really good post-snap. All right. He gets fooled a little bit too much, and he has that fumbling issue. He has turnover problems. So if you're going to have turnover problems, you also want to be a little bit more dynamic touchdown-wise. So you want to have that balance, right? If you're going to turn over the ball a lot, you have to also have a lot of touchdowns. So he does kind of like the opposite. He has a lot of turnovers and a lot of touchdowns.
If we were like, let's say we were like a 4-13 team, right? Like bad, really terrible season, expensive contract with old players, then I'd be like, all right, let's roll the dice, right? Then I'd be like, okay, like we're not going to like win now. You know what I mean? It's like, let's trade our older guys with value. Carr's basically the only guy on the team that's older with value, right? All the other expensive guys are guys that no one wants, right? Corey Littleton, Gwiatkowski, right? They're gone. All the guys that are good for us are young that you want to, like, they're the guys that you would want in a rebuild, right? Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, Max Crosby, right? They're all young guys that you should never get rid of, right?
Yep.
But that's not this team, right? It's a 10-win team in the playoffs with, again, all the tragedy that we faced last season, like overcame all this bullshit, right? No number one receiver, coach gone, blah, 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 right? So it's a weird, like, and this is why I think this Carr discussion is so, like, it makes it even flame even hotter, is because we're in a weird rebuild because we need a new GM, new coach, and that probably means more new coordinators, but it's not a roster that you implode. It's a good young core roster that we clearly won with. And so that's why it's this really weird feeling. If it was,
that's why we're at that tipping point, man. That's why it's like weird, one way or the other.
It's a middle ground. It's a weird middle ground area of one part, like coaches and GM. It's a rebuild. Players you shouldn't rebuild. And so it's like, what fork in the road are we going with?
I think we represent the two directions you can go. You're either on the Carr train or you're not. And I think we represented the two directions you go, depending on how you want to do it.
Marcus Howard chimes in. Derek Carr, 5,000 passer beat.
I think he meant best.
Beat best Raider quarterback ever, and you want him gone. Shake my head. Rodgers scores 10 points and falls to 0-4 against Niners. That's not a Raider. Well, look,
I don't think he's a better quarterback than Carr. I don't think we should go for Rodgers. Number one, he's going to want too much money, number one. Number two, I don't think he's going to want to come to the Raiders because he already said he didn't want to come to a rebuild. He wants something more ready-made. He wants to win.
Is it a rebuild, though? I mean, it's a new coach and GM.
No, it's a rebuild because the roster is not as good as what he has in Green Bay.
Well, look, there's a difference between there's three phases, right? There's bad roster that needs rebuild, good roster where you win. Like, there's bad roster where you sacrifice the now for the future, right? There's great roster where you sacrifice the future to win now, right? You'll go and get, expensive guys, push the cap consequences down the road, right? That kind of team. And then there's just good teams that just need to improve, right? Like the Raiders, again, won 10 games, went to the playoffs, good team. Now it's just get better. We can't just sit around twirling our thumbs and say, well, we've got it all figured out, guys.
Yeah.
That's definitely not us. But it's the core is there, right? Young guys, franchise quarterback, whether you think you should go or not. Carr's, proven that he's a franchise quarterback. What franchise is, that's gonna be the question moving forward. But it's just a good team where you aggressively try to improve while still trying to keep the core components, especially that whatever was in the water last season that made us beat all these teams that were better than us and more talented than us and still go to the playoffs. Like, you want to keep whatever the core of this team you want to keep, just improve, right? We desperately need a true number one wide receiver. Probably need a true number two as well. All these defensive tackles that played so well for us.
I think Hummer's a number two. I think Hummer's a good number two. I think he could be a number two receiver.
I mean, he could be second in like yards and points and stuff, but
I don't think Hummer's the guy that you game plan for around. I don't think hey, we got to know where Hummer is.
He was bracketed a lot the last month and a half, 2 months. Like he had ate a lot of double teams.
I mean, I
mostly because
guess
he was the only guy, right?
Yeah,
Waller's
there
gone,
was nothing else
Russ
there.
is gone.
I think you
It's like,
bracketed him because there was
you got a game plan for Zay
else.
Jones.
Well, yeah, because everyone else you can single cover easily and have no problem with. That's why, because you had the extra guys. Look, I'm saying to move on from Derek Carr because of the opportunity that you have. If we keep Derek Carr, I'm perfectly fine with sticking with Derek Carr. But we do have to get better around him. He does need quite a bit around him. And we can't play the same as the Bills and the Chiefs and the Chargers. We can't play the same game because we don't have the same quarterback. We can't play the same game that they do.
Nor should we try. And this is
we have been trying. That's the problem. We have been trying to play the same game. And that's why the Chiefs stop our fucking
Gruden only played one way, right? They're like, I have a Gruden style of offense, and that's what we do and nothing else. Whether I have the roster for it or not, right?
Yeah.
And he's gone, so that's all gonna be up in the air. But I also feel like this is now, for the first time in a long time, the Raiders is, I think, a destination for free agents. Like Derek Carr in that offense turned Nelson Aguilar from an afterthought to a $20 million quarterback, $22 million wide receiver. Like his numbers, he had like 600 yards this season. Like he was nothing in New England. But
well,
he also had Raiders.
He also had Mac Jones throwing to him too.
Mm-hmm. And then, like in this year, Hunter Renfrow became a 1,000-yard receiver because there was nothing left. And Derek Carr's like, all right, let's make this guy. And Darren Waller was hurt. Like this should be a destination for players now. Like just imagine what an Allen Robertson, Devontae Adams, or like a true badass number one receiver. They should be drooling to be on the Raiders because the spot's wide open, right? You're competing against Waller and Renfrow, like two guys that actually make your game better, right? Renfrow runs little intermediate choice routes. Waller, runs his seam and he's got speed. And then you're just the big, fast, beat you body. Like the roster is super complimentary to a great number one wide receiver coming here.
I'm very interested in seeing what a new head coach and offensive coordinator do for Derek Carr's career, because I think that John Gruden and his offensive philosophy has really he didn't do Derek Carr a lot of favors, and he actually gave Derek Carr a lot of bad habits. One thing that I will say, it's kind of a blessing and a curse, and follow me here. And this is one thing that I touched on a little bit with Marcus when we had him on. Derek Carr is so good pre-snap that he identifies what the defense is doing pre-snap, okay? And he knows where his number one receiver is and what his number one look is. So he'll stare down his number one receiver, and he knows that if he's patient enough, he knows the windows. I can throw it in here or I can throw it here. So if he waits, he knows he'll get another window that'll open up a little bit later, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if he hangs on to the ball a little bit longer and he gets the time, he can still throw it later and he'll get a second window to throw the ball and still complete it. That's made him a little bit too focused on his number one receiver, which we can both agree he does that sometimes. He keys in on his number one target.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's made him a little bit too number one receiver dump off. And that's a Gruden thing.
Yeah, conservative
dump off, right?
Yeah,
which
get
is
the ball
not
out in 2 seconds.
Which is not what the elite quarterbacks in the NFL do. What the elite quarterbacks in the NFL do is a lot of
it's not what Carr did, right? I mean, he was in Fresno State. Fresno was 4 verts, right?
Well,
that's not his
deal.
game.
If my first read is like a 12-yard out to Renfrow, like let's just say Mahomes, right? Mahomes won't even look at it right away because he knows that's where it is. That's what my first read is, right? He'll look at it pre-snap. He's okay. Well, I have it. I'm going to look somewhere else. I'm looking everywhere else but my number one read to see if anything breaks down, because I know the timing, and then I'm just going to throw it. I'm going to look it. Okay, if it's not there, then I'm going to look somewhere else. But that's the difference in
Or
philosophy.
I'm going to look away and still throw it because I'm Patrick.
Yeah, right. But that's the thing is, I'm going to drop back and look elsewhere, and then I'm going to get my read and throw it, right? Whereas Carr is so focused on that number one read where he stares it down, that gets him into trouble. Now, he's so good pre-snap.
Gruden turned him into a robot.
Exactly.
Gruden turned him into a robot.
And what that does is, and that's where I get where he's not as dynamic as he can be as a thrower because he's so programmed to go specific places. And that's where we see where, like on the sack, where we disagree whose fault it was against the Bengals, where we had D-Jack wide open because his defender fell down. He didn't even look towards him because he's programmed to look at a certain read, right?
Yeah.
And where other quarterbacks would have found it if they just kind of took a peek the other way, he would have found it.
And that's where the $1 million question is, where there is no answer. Was Derek Carr given enough freedom to throw that way, or is Gruden like, you're not even looking, just do this, right? Because I know that in Gruden's offense, there's a lot of like go routes that are in there, never throw there. It's just to clear things out, right? Does he have that freedom or not? We may never get that answer, right?
Well, earlier this year, in the beginning of the year, he was throwing those. When he was getting those long passes down the field, he was like, crap, nothing's open.
Well, that's what we were saying. That's what we were saying all year is like, why is he so good in 2-minute drill? Because the gloves are off. The shackles are off. It's go, which is what Carr does great. It's like, all right, I'm just calling a play. Hurry up, spike the ball, go. Like, that's when Carr's going nuts and not this. What did I say 6 months ago? John Gruden coaches the team he wants. He doesn't coach the team he has.
Exactly.
And he's basically coaching like, all right,
so
my quarterback, we're going to do zero mistakes. We're not going to lean on your arm. Just manage this brilliant offense that I have in my head, and you're just my puppet, right? I'm the puppeteer. Got my strings, and that's what we're doing, right? And you're right.
$1 million question: can Carr shake out of that? And if he can, how long is it going to take him? A season? 2 seasons?
Well, he's proven he can mid-game, right? Like when it's a 2-minute drill.
It makes me think he can shake out of it. He's also proven
it makes me think he can shake out of it fast because when he's forced into it, he does it, right? So it's just a matter of just think in 2-minute drill mode. If that's what that's the new offensive coordinator, new head coach want him to do. Like he can do it, and he excels in it. It's when he's at his best. And we know, and Carr's such a soldier. I mean, he'll do what he's told. It's just a matter of that's the big question, right? When Mark Davis starts interviewing these head coaches is, all right, your offensive philosophy, your offensive coordinator's philosophy, how flexible are they? Right? Like, are you someone that can be like, all right, here's Carr's strengths and weaknesses, let's play to it? Or are you John Gruden? This is my offense. This is what we do. Get with the program, or we're going to trade your ass. Like that should be a big part is, can you be flexible with the roster with a lot of young players and hopefully a lot of new faces on the offense next season, because we need receivers, O-linemen. Who knows what's going to happen with Josh Jacobs and that super expensive running back core that can't stay around. These are all things in flux with this new regime that's coming in.
Yeah. Also, Carr has shown that he's not very good his first year in a new scheme. Do you want to waste that on his last year of a really good contract?
Yeah. So it's like, are you going to come in with a brand new scheme that Carr has to relearn, or is it someone in the Gruden McVay coaching tree that can kind of do that?
So we should change the title of this video so people don't scream at us for honey dicking them again.
Should we do 5 minutes of the Rodgers talk just to make sure we're not flagrantly false advertising? Because I think that was part of the conversation. I think we can't do this conversation, the Rodgers Carr trade conversation, without having this conversation.
Yeah.
What does it cost us to lose Carr? Right? What is that truly going to cost us? And what are we getting from Rodgers? And I was down for it. The biggest thing that bothers me is not the cost, not the let's say we could probably get Rodgers if he wants to come for Carr and 2 firsts. Carr and 2 firsts? Absolutely. No. Carr and 2 firsts? No way.
I'm telling you, he's a back-to-back MVP. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but so But my point is, Carr's worth 2 firsts, and they wanted 4. So Carr plus 2 firsts is essentially the same value as 4 firsts. So you can get Carr and 2 firsts and get Rodgers. I think so. It also depends how good our GM is at negotiating, right? Because historically, we've been pretty terrible at negotiating these trades.
Yeah.
If our next GM's good, then that's the thing.
How about
how much longer? How much more prime of? Yeah.
A box of those glow in the dark condoms for the business bathroom.
That go in the novelty machine in the bathroom.
We don't even have
those are fun even when you're alone.
Call this a bowling alley.
Bowling alley. How many more years of like prime Rodgers do you think we have?
How old is he? 39?
38.
38.
And he's a pretty clean. He's not Tom Brady level, but he's a pretty clean living dude. He's not like Ben Roethlisberger who gets like 900 pounds in the offseason.
2-3,
right? Like I think if we traded for him, we'd sign him to a 3-year contract, and I think it's pretty. He might dribble off a little bit, but I don't think a steep incline.
Look, the way he played this year, his arm strength his accuracy, his mobility has not dropped off whatsoever. Early in his career, he had issues with concussions because he just didn't fucking learn how to slide. He just was taking those hits like a dumbass.
Maybe that's why he grew his hair out for more cushioning to stop.
I guess I don't know, but no, he is. No, he had that. What he had that bet with who was it? Was it Perryman?
No, it's AJ Cole.
Was it AJ Cole? I think they both did it right. With neither one of them cut their hair all season.
Because Cole gave him shit. He's like, because Cole knows Carr and what a psycho he is competitively. He's like, yeah, we could do a hair bet, but you'd break so fast. It's like, fuck you, I'll grow my hair out forever, right? Like,
no, he said fudge you. He said fudge you.
Yeah, right. Fudge you. I'm sending you to HE double hockey stick. I'm gonna have
but little does you know that Cole has that like fucking long, luxurious hair. And freaking Carr looked like that guy from Home Alone.
Did you see pictures of Carr when he was like 5? He's had a buzz cut his entire
life.
For like 28 and a half of his 30 years, he's had a buzz cut. And now
imagine growing up in that house. It's like David had the whole rack in the bathroom for hair products because he had that luxurious hair. And Derek had the 5-in-1.
Maybe that's why he was forced to shave his head all the time. His older brother didn't give him any bathroom space. He got no shelf space for hair product. David's like, no. I'm not going to make it in the NFL, so I got to make sure this looks good so I can be on NFL Network for the rest of my career. Hyping you up, buddy.
Who has a better head of hair than David Carr? God damn. That's a fucking
it's salon quality. It is salon quality.
Whoever is doing that hair and makeup, I got this going on, so I'm jealous.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's a pretty man. And it's working for him.
So look, let's just say, for example, it's Carr and 2 1s.
Okay.
So what does that leave you? Honestly, you're not in terrible shape. You do have some work to do because we do need help up front on both sides of the ball.
And we have a ton of cap space. We have the 6-month cap space in football. So
now here's the deal.
Room here.
Once you have an Aaron Rodgers on your team, you have a young roster who made the playoffs, you are now a destination, right? So if you're do me a favor, pull up the free agent wide receivers this year.
Not your dancing monkey, Soto. Fine, I'll do it.
I said do me a favor. I didn't say freaking at my fingertips, like snap my fingers. Because I don't want it. No, I wasn't.
The first one that came up, Antonio Brown.
Oh, let's do it. No, definitely not AB.
It's all old dudes.
No, we don't want those guys. We want first contract guys. We want first contract guys.
I don't know about that. Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams, Will Fuller, Jameson Crowder, T.Y. Hilton, Juju Smith-Schuster, Emmanuel Sanders, A.J. Green. Kind of falls off after that. Sammy Watkins, Mike Williams, a lot of drops.
Oof. All right, that's not great. So look, here's the deal.
Number
one, Devontae Adams He's getting franchise tag. He's put the bitch tag. He's in the bitch tag put on him. He's not going anywhere. Because if they lose Rodgers,
they could bitch tag him, but still trade him.
They're not going to trade him because if they get Carr back, they're gonna. But
this is the irony, though. But this is the irony. They lose Rodgers, and if this trade happens and they get Carr, he's going to stay.
He'll stay.
Now he's got Carr.
They'll franchise tag him long enough for them to work out a contract, right? So they can rescind the tag and sign him. So if we get Rodgers, we're not going to get Adams. Juju's he's hear me out. Juju's a good possession receiver. I do like him because he gets to where he needs to be. He's going to be a reliable receiver for Carr. For Rodgers. Hummer has shown that he is a sneaky good deep threat.
He's got wiggle.
Yeah. Plus, imagine how good Waller can be with a pinpoint Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's pretty scary. It elevates an Edwards. It elevates Waller. It elevates everybody on that. He could. I mean, I'm telling you right now, Rodgers is going to love having a Waller Foster Moreau combo, 2 tight end sets. He really loved having those 2 tight end sets. When he had what's that white dude? He had Mercedes Lewis. Epic, what's up? Epic X with the DC underwear. Pictures or it didn't happen.
Yeah, send those directly to Soto. You don't got to send them to the whole
Don't
channel.
DM me that
directly
shit.
At Mr. Wonderful42 on Insta. What would Derek Carr underwear even look like? Just like a
2 blue eyes and a buzz cut.
Be like a chastity belt because he's so Christian. He's like, you need a key of marriage before you can get in here.
Yeah.
Fuck it, swing for the fences. Allen Robinson. Like that poor guy's been doomed in Chicago with no quarterback play his whole career.
Like Robinson's getting kind of old, no?
28. Still got.
He got some miles left.
Well, this is also the thing. Are we a winning now thing, right? Are we going for 27, 28, 29-year-olds?
No.
Right?
No. Hey, make no mistake about it. Make no mistake. We are in full Rams mode. If we get Aaron Rodgers, we're in full Rams mode. Like we want to win right now.
2-year window, right?
And I say that's generous. We want to win right this second. If we get Aaron Rodgers, we're telling him we want to win right now. No fucking 2-year bullshit. We want to win now. So we're going after everybody. The top names on the list.
So then it would be Allen Robinson, right? On the older end, but still in his prime, the best wide receiver on the free agency available, right?
2 years. Give him a high. 2 years.
2 years, 30 mil. We can get away with 30. Might be more.
Might need more than that. Might need more than that for him. 2 years. Yeah. But yeah, if you're getting Aaron Rodgers, you don't get Aaron Rodgers to play the slow game, dude. You get Aaron Rodgers to get it done right now. Yeah. D tackle. There's a couple of guys in the draft you can get probably in the second round. Hopefully that Georgia kid drops in the second round. Maybe you can, but you need more dynamic playmakers in the secondary. Hopefully there's some guys out there that you can get. But the thing is when you get Aaron Rodgers and you're in Vegas already, you become a destination. A lot of these guys are going to want to come play for you. Godwin wrecked his knee. He's going to be ready in time. Who knows?
So this is where we're at. Win now with Rodgers or not rebuild, not win now, the middle ground with Carr. Fill in the holes, get a number 1 receiver, probably another one, get a true tackle, offensive tackle, and some defensive tackles.
So here's the thing.
And just get better.
If we stick with Carr, if we have another draft, if we have three Bs and another A this next draft, we can make a deep run in the playoffs again this year. If we have the same type of draft that we had this year and this next coming year, it's these guys that if these guys that, because I mean, oh God, I hope not. But you've seen it where these guys come on rookies. But because the thing is you're going to have new schemes coming in, new coaches coming in. Who knows if they're going to be able to, play the same or whatever. But the thing is, we got Mullen coming back. Amik Robertson played really well, and then he got hurt. So if these guys that got hurt earlier in the year, they come back, Abram comes back. Who knows what happens with that? But
if he keeps improving, right? If he's the same guy, it's a problem. But that's the other part too. And not to start the Derek Carr argument again over again. But another reason why I want to keep Derek Carr is like, instead of roll the dice, win now in a 2-year window with Rodgers, it's let's just build a sustainable team. Let's just build a team that can be really, really good for the next 6-7 years, right? Like, especially after such a really good draft class that we just had, how much cap space that we have. The mistakes that the Raiders have made in free agency and drafting, what they've never done is blown it for the future, right? They never way overspent for guys, got us in cap trouble, traded away a bunch of picks for a guy that didn't work out. Like, the Raiders have a really good looking future, money wise, drafts wise, young guys. This is a team. Another reason not to trade for Rodgers. This is a team that could, if done right, can be build a dynasty. Be really good.
What's going on over there?
Consistency. I don't know. I think my daughter's dying. I have to sign. It's time to wrap it up. So basically, where we're at. Don't trade for Aaron Rodgers. We'll see what this next GM, this next head coach wants to do. But we've got the makings of building a solid core that can be around forever. Instead of trade everything, win now. Keep building this solid franchise moving forward.
Look,
all right.
If in the draft this year we get another Merrick, Kuntz, Diablo, and Hobbs, but different positions, if we can get that again this year, maybe receiver, offensive lineman, D tackle, another corner. If we do that kind of combo, wow, look out.
Yeah,
because those guys are special players.
On top of Crosby, Renfro, Waller, right? We've got little phases, right? We've got the draft, that awesome guys we've drafted the last 2-3 seasons, this class, and that's what you want, right? You don't want 13 amazing guys all the same age who all, get old at the same time. You're this great class, sign them, draft again, great class, sign them. And you just kind of cycle it. That's how you have sustained quality production. You just you phase them in. You don't want them all done at one time. All right. That's it for this episode of the Autumn Windbags. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all the fun things. And until next time, knock on wood if you're with me.